You know what's ironic? The people who dedicate their lives to healing others are often the ones most in need of healing themselves. Doctors, nurses, caregivers, they carry invisible wounds that don't show up on x-rays. It's the exhaustion that seeps into the soul, the quiet burnout behind the polite smile, the feeling of being on all the time in a world that never lets you rest. And let's be honest, no amount of caffeine, vacation days, or hospital yoga programs can fix what's truly going on beneath the surface. Here's the controversial truth. The medical world glorifies self-sacrifice but forgets the human behind the white coat. The Christian doctor mindset, the nurse's compassion, the caregiver's resilience. These beautiful qualities can become double-edged swords when faith, purpose, and rest are neglected. While society praises heroes and scrubs, few talk about the cost of being one. But what if I told you that protecting your mind and heart doesn't make you weaker? It actually makes you a better healer? Today, we're diving deep into something that every healthcare worker secretly craves but rarely talks about: peace. True, lasting peace. This isn't about motivational fluff or vague self-care Sundays. It's about real strategies, faith-based healing in hospitals, mental wellness for physicians, spiritual self-care for doctors, and emotional healing for caregivers. If you've ever whispered to yourself, there has to be more than this, stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you'll not only rediscover your calling but learn how to guard your soul in a profession that never stops giving. The hidden battle, when healing others hurts you. Most doctors and nurses never expected the fight to be this heavy. They signed up to save lives, not to slowly lose their own spark in the process. The truth is, doctor mental health isn't just a professional issue. It's deeply personal. Late-night shifts, emotional emergencies, and endless patient demands pile up quietly until burnout becomes the new normal. Many healthcare professionals pray for strength each morning, only to end the day wondering if their faith and purpose are enough to carry them through. It's a silent struggle that medicine rarely acknowledges, but every healthcare worker feels deep down. One physician once shared how he'd leave the hospital parking lot and sit in his car for 20 minutes, too drained to turn the key. He wasn't weak, he was human. That's what so many faith and healthcare professionals forget. The body can only run so long without the soul catching up. Nurse burnout and caregiver emotional resilience are more than buzzwords. They're the heartbeat of a profession at risk of losing its compassion to fatigue. Healing others is noble, but if it's costing your inner peace, something's off balance. And that imbalance, if left unchecked, becomes the quiet thief of joy. But what if this hidden battle could be faced differently? Not by escaping the hospital halls, but by transforming the mindset that walks them. What if spiritual healing for nurses and mindfulness for doctors weren't extras, but essential tools for survival? The key isn't just enduring the pressure, it's learning to guard the mind and heart in the middle of it. And that's where the real shift begins. Because understanding the battle is the first step to winning it. Rediscovering the calling, when purpose heals the healer. Somewhere between the paperwork, the protocols, and the pager alerts, many doctors and nurses forget why they started. The spark that once lit their path dims under fluorescent lights and endless charts. But purpose, that deep sense of calling in medicine, isn't lost. It's just buried under exhaustion. For many healthcare professionals of faith, remembering that medicine is a ministry as much as a job can reignite that passion. When a Christian doctor mindset reconnects with the why, the daily grind turns back into sacred service, not just survival. Think of it this way. The doctor who views each patient as a divine appointment sees healing differently. Suddenly, the rushed consultations become moments of grace. The nurse facing burnout begins to notice God's fingerprints in every small recovery, every grateful smile. This shift transforms emotional fatigue into caregiver emotional resilience. Real faith-based healing in hospitals doesn't happen only through medication. It flows through compassion, humility, and presence. Purpose gives medicine its heart. Without it, even the most skilled hands feel empty. But rediscovering purpose isn't automatic. It takes intention. Reading stories like The Calling by Dr. Abraham Verghese or journaling moments where you felt God's peace amid chaos can reignite that sacred flame. The best physicians and nurses don't just treat, they connect. They see healing as holy work. And as that sense of calling and purpose in medicine grows stronger, something shifts within. Yet, even with renewed purpose, one question lingers. How can you keep that flame alive when the world around you never slows down? Building emotional armor, guarding the mind in the midst of chaos. Every shift in a hospital is like walking through a storm, alarms, emotions, decisions. And while most healthcare workers master the art of staying calm, few learn how to protect their inner world. Guarding the mind isn't about shutting down feelings. It's about managing them with grace. Doctor mental health and mental wellness for physicians start with recognizing that emotions aren't the enemy, they're signals. Ignoring them only lets stress pile up until it breaks through in tears, anger, or apathy. True strength lies in emotional awareness, not suppression. A seasoned ER nurse once said, "I stopped praying for lighter burdens and started asking for stronger shoulders." That's resilience in healthcare, not pretending the chaos doesn't hurt, but learning how to bend without breaking. Practical tools help. Journaling after intense shifts, practicing short mindfulness for doctors' exercises between patients, or joining a faith-based peer support group for reflection and prayer. These small acts of spiritual self-care for doctors aren't indulgent. They're necessary maintenance for the soul. They're what keep compassion alive when exhaustion whispers, "You're done." And yet, emotional armor can't just be built once and forgotten. It needs daily upkeep, like cleaning your stethoscope or checking your vitals. That's where faith meets discipline, choosing, day after day, to protect the mind before the world drains it. But mental resilience is only half the story, because the heart, the emotional center of why we care in the first place, needs its own kind of healing too, and that's where things get even more personal. Healing the heart, the sacred side of self-care. In medicine, self-care often sounds like a luxury, doesn't it? A spa day, a long walk, maybe a rare full night's sleep. But for those working in the trenches, hospital workers, nurses, caregivers, real healing starts deeper. The heart carries invisible scars, the patient you couldn't save, the guilt of leaving your own family waiting, the constant pressure to be strong. Emotional healing for caregivers and spiritual healing for nurses aren't just feel-good ideas, they're survival strategies. Without tending to the heart, even the strongest mind will eventually crack. Some healthcare workers find healing through quiet prayer in an empty hospital chapel, others through sharing stories in small faith circles after their shift. These moments create space for grace to do its work. They're where faith and healthcare professionals learn that God's love isn't measured by performance, but by presence. Practicing gratitude at the end of each day, listing 3 moments of goodness, may sound simple, but it's powerful medicine for the soul. It turns fatigue into reflection and pain into purpose. Still, healing the heart requires honesty. It means admitting, "I'm not okay," without shame. It means understanding that coping with burnout as a nurse or doctor burnout recovery is a sacred act of humility, not weakness. When healthcare workers care for their own hearts, they rediscover empathy, not as a duty, but as a gift. And yet the question remains, once the heart begins to heal, how can it stay that way in a system that keeps pulling it apart? Sustaining peace, living whole in a broken system. Even after rediscovering purpose and tending to the mind and heart, one challenge remains: how to stay whole in a world that won't slow down. Hospitals don't stop, patients keep coming. The system often feels like a machine, and yet, within it, there are humans, healthcare professionals with faith, compassion, and deep exhaustion. Sustaining peace isn't about escaping that system, it's about living differently within it. It's about carrying a calm center even when everything around you spins. This is the art of staying sane in healthcare work, not through escape, but through alignment. For some doctors, this looks like beginning every day with a grounding ritual, a short prayer, deep breathing, or reading a verse before stepping into the ward. Others end their shifts by symbolically washing away the day's weight, turning the hospital sink into a place of silent release. These small acts, when done consistently, build what could be called a holy rhythm. It's a rhythm that ties mental health and faith for nurses together, and reminds every caregiver that peace isn't the absence of noise. It's the presence of stillness within it. But lasting peace also demands boundaries. Saying no to extra shifts, limiting screen time after hours, or spending Sundays disconnected from work isn't laziness. It's loyalty to your soul. As faith-based healing in hospitals grows, the new challenge isn't just to serve, it's to serve sustainably. Because a burned-out doctor can't heal anyone, and a weary nurse can't pour from an empty cup. And perhaps that's where our journey truly begins, learning not just to heal others, but to remain whole ourselves. So here's the truth. The world may never stop rushing, but you can choose to stop being swept away by it. The hospital lights will still buzz, the calls will still come, but your peace doesn't have to depend on them. You've learned how to guard your mind through awareness, your heart through faith, and your purpose through calling. The next step is to live it, to build habits that keep your soul anchored, even when your body and mind are exhausted. Because the most powerful kind of healing begins when the healer chooses to be healed. So let me ask you, when was the last time you felt genuinely still? When did you last breathe deeply without feeling guilty for pausing? What would your work and your life look like if you truly believed that rest is sacred, not selfish? If you're ready to reclaim your peace, start today. Journal your gratitude, pray before your next shift, set boundaries that protect your joy. Do one small thing that reminds you, you are more than your role. You are a soul with purpose. If this message spoke to your heart, don't let it end here. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and keep walking this path of renewal with us. Because your healing journey matters, not just for you, but for every life you touch. The world needs doctors and nurses who are not only skilled, but whole.